Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports President Donald Trump on Friday signed a 5-year reauthorization for the Federal Aviation Administration, which, among other things, seeks to regulate airplane seat size width. The Senate sent the bill to the president's desk on Wednesday after a 93-6 vote. Senators John Barrasso, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, Ed Markey, Jeff Merkley, and Ron Wyden were the no votes. Some of the changes the bill will make include prohibiting airlines from bumping a passenger who has already been seated, requiring the FAA to set minimum seat widths and distances between rows of seats, and permitting the Transportation Department to determine if airlines are justifiably blaming delays and cancellations on weather. The bill allocates $90 billion to federal aviation programs over the next 5 years. That amount does not include a proposed increase in the $4.50 per ticket passenger facility charge. This was the first time the FAA bill has been renewed for a 5-year period since the 1980s. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports 1,000 wild horses are to be rounded up in California by the U.S. Forest Service, and animal rights activists fear hundreds of them could be sold for slaughter. The Modak National Forest in Northeast California plans to start the roundup and removal of the horses on Tuesday from the Devil's Garden Plateau Wild Horse Territory, according to a statement on its website. The more than 250,000-acre territory was designated for up to 402 adult horses, but the population has grown to almost 4,000. That has impacted the health of horses as they compete for limited food. It has also harmed scarce water sources, native grasses, and other wildlife. Under the plan, horses aged 10 and older will be available for adoption or sale, with limitations in November. Younger animals are also up for adoption, according to the National Forest website. A purchase agreement on the website states buyers must agree not to resell horses for slaughter, which is illegal under California law. According to the American Wild Horse Campaign, AWHC, the Forest Service plans to exploit a legal loophole to eventually sell the older horses, numbering around 300, without restriction, thus allowing buyers to ship them to Canada for slaughter. A ban on horse slaughter in the United States was renewed earlier this year. The practice is legal in Mexico and Canada, leading U.S. horse buyers to ship animals to those countries for slaughter and sell as horse meat to Europe and Asia. In a statement, the AWHC urged the Forest Service to reduce the wild horse population humanely over time by making removals incremental so homes can be found for all horses. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This week, badly shaken researchers reported observing an osprey stalking, killing, and devouring an adult male lion in what is being called a massive food chain shakeup. Confirmation of the 3-pound marine bird consuming the 400-pound feline has biologists scrambling to determine the new predator-prey connections between the planet's billions of organisms.
We seem to be experiencing some sort of cross-species dietary free-for-all.
Scientists say that the killing of the healthy, full-grown lion by a typical osprey specimen has lent credibility to recent reports of a deer seen grazing on a nest of squirrels in Wisconsin, as well as a claim made by a group of Japanese fishermen who say they witnessed 300 million krill devouring a 40-ton humpback whale. In other news, NASA acquires the moon for an upcoming Kennedy Space Center exhibit. A radio DJ invites the whole town to some bullshit, and assuming the many universes theory of quantum mechanics is accurate, the review you've just seen will remain relevant in another reality for all eternity. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you are free to call in and talk live here on this live Sunday night edition of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
And Darryl.
And today we have a special guest host. Laurel, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, it's my understanding you're some kind of bigwig immigration attorney. Is that right?
I do immigration law. Yes, that's true.
And so what I can say is that it's nice to have attorneys on here because they tend to know what they're talking about.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. And we have more than one person who has been to law school. I'm Not sure. I don't think Melanie can call herself an attorney.
She did not pass the bar, and then there was some other thing that prevented her
Well, she did not take the bar. If you say you don't pass the bar, it sounds like you took it.
Right. There was some legal thing, and I don't remember what it was that prevented her from being able to do something.
No, she just doesn't want to take it, basically.
She's also said that because she had, like, some kind of legal hoop or something.
In order to become attorney, not only do you have to pass the bar exam, you also have to pass a character and fitness review. So there could be some issue with character and fitness.
Yeah, she had mentioned having, a couple of arrests, which might go into that character thing.
Yes.
Yep,
which is some legal hurdle to have to try to clear.
Not familiar. People can call in tomorrow, though, and ask. We're on 7 days a week from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 365 days a year to talk about whatever you want to talk about here on Free Talk Live. But we do bring in show prep, and this evening I have brought in a little show prep, and it's fortuitous that we have an attorney on the program because this is from Mother Jones, and it's about some criminal justice reform bills piling up in California, and some of which have been signed at this point by Jerry Brown. This is from Mother Jones. It's probably about a week old. Fresh on the heels of abolishing its cash bail system, which I like. The cash bail system's pretty complicated. What do you think? Laurel, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it depends on what the crime is. I understand that a lot of people who didn't have as many resources weren't being able to get out on bail. And I understand where that is coming from. But then part of the bail system is then it gives a financial incentive for somebody to go get the person if they don't show up for court. So there is a downside. And I understand that this makes it better for people who are lower income because they were not able to get out on bail, whereas wealthy people could. So there's pluses and minuses on either side. I
do like a good financial incentive. There's no doubt about that. I'm very fond of those. However, I find it, first off, the idea that if jail's the punishment, then it shouldn't be the thing that you're given before the punishment, because then you're punished for the arrest or something
and
like that.
There have been all kinds of studies that show that for jury trials specifically, if the defendant enters the courtroom wearing the prisoner orange or blue or whatever the color is, and they're handcuffed, juries are more likely to find them guilty, even if there's evidence showing that they did not commit the crime, just because, well, they're already being in jail. They must have done something wrong.
Right. And on the side of getting rid of the cash bail system, if the person really is a danger to the public, which would be one of the reasons for setting bail really high, if they're really a danger, don't let them out at all, if that's what you believe is going to happen. So why just make it so that a dangerous wealthy person can get out? So yeah, there is that.
It's all very complicated. I think we've got to try some different things. We've tried all this, and it doesn't seem to be working terribly well. And one of the problems is that although we have these crucibles of democracy, these ideas that these states where we're going to try a bunch of different things, mostly they don't, especially in the area of criminal justice reform, because nobody cares about convicts. Mostly I tell you that. Anyway, going on here. California's going to soon usher in a series of new criminal justice reform. 8 bills dealing with everything from police accountability to juvenile detention are now on the desk of Governor Jerry Brown, and they'll become law if he doesn't veto them by Sunday. And it's my understanding he hasn't vetoed any of these. So we'll just go on here. It's not clear which bills he may sign, but advocates of the criminal justice reform are hopeful about the proposals passed by California's Democrat-controlled legislature. It's noteworthy. And look, I don't like Democrats. I don't like Republicans. But for me, in the area of criminal justice reform, I feel like Democrats are trying a little harder. Republicans, there's no traction there within the right side of the spectrum to try new things. And I think that most people would agree. When I've heard numbers as high as 85% of adults coming out of prison are likely to reoffend and return to the prison system, that's pretty scary stuff. It's obviously something's not working.
Well, one of the things I've thought for a long time is that our criminal justice system has turned into sort of an exile in place system where even after you get out of prison, it becomes almost impossible to find employment because of your record. It becomes very difficult to find a place to live because of your record. So then people are more likely to turn back to crime because they can no longer live in society at all. And it has become this sort of alternative to prison sentences is to ruin the person's life forever. And while I do think that people who commit crimes should be punished, especially depending on what the crime is, some of them are pretty bad, you have to also think people need to be able to put their lives together and move on. So we need to get rid of this whole exile in place system that I think is contributing to recidivism.
Right. And I remember, and it's been a long time since I've heard anybody say this, but there's some kind of saying of, well, they've served their time, so they should be allowed to be a full member of society. But now with all of these things, as you mentioned, a lot of apartments now have a question on the application. Do you have a criminal record? A lot of job applications now have questions. Have you ever been convicted of a crime?
It used to say, have you been convicted of a felony in the last 7 years? Which, since I got out of prison after 8.5 years, the answer to that would have been no.
Right. But if you were to go apply for a job now, you would see that the vast majority of those applications are, have you ever been convicted of a crime?
Right. And I can't.
So,
I haven't been filled out a job application in 15 years.
So somebody that's, say, 16 years old, petty shoplifting, and gets charged as an adult, for the rest of their life, they're going to have to mark that box and then explain to their potential employer about that thing that happened 20 years ago.
I'm not entirely clear, so you're not an attorney and you're not giving legal advice here, whether if one is convicted, is sentenced as a youthful offender, whether they have to reveal, or if they're a juvenile, whether they have to reveal.
Well, I said charged as an adult.
Yeah. Okay.
16-year-old charged as an adult, which a lot of times, depending on what the crime was, is very likely.
And this is different from the trend in a lot of the other first world countries, which is in places like the UK and Germany and Australia. Minor offenses drop off of their record after 10 years. And in those countries, they're legally allowed to answer no to the question, have you ever been arrested, if it's a minor offense, like a misdemeanor. Whereas in the United States, it follows you around for the rest of your life, even if it's something small.
12 years sounds reasonable. It still sounds long, but honestly, if somebody hasn't, if somebody
10 years.
If it's been whatever period of 10 years. If it's been whatever period of time, I mean, if somebody's was convicted of something heinous and when they were 17 years old, like I was, I mean, at what point does it not matter anymore? I mean, you're 65, you're filling out Social Security form. Does it matter? I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's not worth taking a look at there.
Yeah, in immigration law, I mean, sometimes I deal with people who are inadmissible for criminal grounds for things that they did literally 30 years ago.
Right, happens.
Yeah,
and how does this judge react to that when you're dealing with a situation like that?
Well, sometimes they're not even eligible to apply for a waiver. So if you have somebody who was convicted of cocaine possession from 30 years ago, they are permanently not allowed to enter the United States, even if they're married to a U.S. citizen. So it's really, really strict.
Yeah, I guess it is. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live. Your thoughts on this, anything else? We're going to be covering these criminal justice reforms that are going through here in California. Some of them I think are worth looking at, and I just want to discuss them one by one. I can tell you the next thing coming up here is what they call the barbaric felony murder rule, which is near and dear to me because that's basically what I ended up in prison for. You can, legally in the United States, go to prison. You're guilty of murder, even if you'd never kill anyone. Even if you didn't know anyone was going to die. You just have to be in the general vicinity and, well, a couple of factors that have to be ticked off, but, that's it. The number, 855-450-3733, or the Discord at discord.freetalklive.com.
Hey, you. Yeah, you.
Your imagination is limitless. Your potential is limitless.
We create websites, mobile apps, and animation. Let's design your story. SunstoneDigitalTech.com. 20% off. Quick, call 888-211-7519.
We are digital.
Call now, 888-211-7519. Sunstone Digital Tech.
Limited time, limitless digital experiences.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.Global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.Global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.Global. That's AnyPay.Global.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Live Sunday edition. It's Mark with you.
Laurel.
And Darryl.
The number's 855-450-3733. We are talking about some criminal justice reforms that are going on in California. Now, that doesn't mean you've got to call in about that topic. It's called Free Talk Live for a reason. But I want to tell you about cryptotip.org. If you believe that cryptocurrencies are a good form of activism, I do. And you want more people to use them, probably a good way for them to use them is to get them in their hands. A great way to get money into people's hands is by giving them out as tips at restaurants. Now, I think you should give a tip cash tips so that people pay attention when, so that the servers pay attention when you give them a crypto tip too. If you've got a little bit of their time, you can explain it to them. But if you go to cryptotip.org, you can create a business card-sized printable cryptocurrency tip. You can choose the amount and the number to print. You get email notifications when and if the tips are used. You can make notes on the tips when and where you left it and that sort of thing on the admin page. Unredeemed tips expire and return to you. So you're not just, destroying the money. You're going to get it back if they don't, for whatever reason, claim the tip. You can use Dash, Bitcoin Cash, BTC. It's cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Let's go to Bad Slave calling in New Hampshire. Bad Slave, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi.
What's on your mind, Bad Slave?
Listen, I just want to say, we're talking about felonies and how many of them. I just spent recently 13 months myself in prison in Berlin, in New Hampshire, and I was there with a bunch of other guys.
The first thing that people ask when you say you've been in prison is, what for?
Well, I'll tell you, it's for not having the what they say is the appropriate documentation in my wallet.
So you went to prison for not having an ID?
Basically all. Correct.
Huh. Well,
I was also exercising my right to travel, which I still believe we have. They have a what they call a privilege to drive, which is all defined into craziness, but that's not what I intend to use. I was intending to use my right to travel, which has never been taken away and is one of the inalienable rights to use the public way in a private manner.
I sure wish they would have written that down on the Bill of Rights to be more clear. That would have been very useful.
It is there in the 9th and 10th Amendments. It was like never expected that anybody would be interfered with in such a way without there being due process. But in fact, that's actually occurred. So basically, we have that. We have a bunch of drug law, of prohibition, where the state becomes the victim.
The state becomes the victim. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying that the state becomes the victim, so the state's the one that brings the charges. That these are crimes without a victim.
And I don't think that was actually what we signed up for.
I didn't sign up for anything.
We talked about. Well, no, exactly, and we're not expecting that. In a republic, that stuff just goes away. That stuff
really? You think that the word republic means that government just doesn't infringe on people's rights? Because I've got a lot of examples. The Republic of Cuba, the People's Republic of China, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
Shut up, Darryl. I'm talking about the American Republic. I don't care about
Right, so
Cuba,
you want the word republic to mean something other than what it means. Got it.
No, my understanding of the American system was that we have the protection of rights. That's established.
It was certainly in the Bill of Rights. I wish that they were more clear on them. But honestly, the ones they're clear on, they still infringe on those too.
The Bill of Rights was never, as it's written right in there, It was never meant to be all inclusive. So the fact is that we have a bunch of law out there that's basically unconstitutional.
Oh yeah, I'd say the vast majority of it's unconstitutional.
Right, and then it's up to courts authorized by the federal government to interpret whether or not the governments are violating the rules they've written for themselves.
Is that the Supreme Court is given the appellate jurisdiction to decide what's unconstitutional, but so the government decides what the Constitution says and what it doesn't say.
I've investigated myself and found that I did nothing wrong here.
Indeed. Bad Slave, thank you for the call. Then 855-450-3733, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Sean calling in from South Carolina. Sean, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. Hey, you talk about what they're doing there in California.
Sean, get right on your microphone there. I'm sorry.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Me? Okay, yeah, I lived in California for 30 years. Listening to any of those politicians out there talk about how they're going to reform the criminal justice system is an opportunity for everybody to take a pause and wonder what these guys are up to. These are the same people that came up with the Bill of Rights for convicts. Okay, tell me, what's up with that?
Well, I think that convicts clearly have rights. I mean, we've established that through the legal system. Now, the question is what they are. I don't know. I've never read California's Bill of Rights for convicts. I've never even heard of it until now. I would presume that
never heard of that. Yeah,
I'm not saying you're wrong. Just saying.
Well, I know. I mean, to me, I've always been shocked because I think it was was it? I don't know if it was Gray Davis or whether it was Jerry Brown. I think it was, that really helped push that along. But in either case, I mean, you really you kind of take the focus off the citizens and you put it towards helping out convicts. Obviously, they shouldn't be treated, poorly. No one's saying that. But the idea that you're going to create a Bill of Rights above and beyond their normal rights is
how is the convict Bill of Rights? How does it give them more rights than regular citizens?
I don't know.
Then why are you presuming that it does?
Because you're obviously you're talking about a section of rights that are given to convicts.
But that's what a lot of the Bill of Rights is. The Founding Fathers wanted to be sure that the people who were most hated by society had rights, because if we protect the most hated, we know that everybody else is going to be protected.
Right, but you're not going to have a Bill of Rights if you convict's Bill of Rights.
I'm going to look up this prisoner's Bill of Rights. I'm curious about it. Thank you for the call.
I've been trying to find it and can't find anything.
You've got California, you've got people, you've got these politicians in California all of a sudden wanting to do something.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Ever wonder how Bitcoin and Ethereum were created? Vercel Media has helped hundreds of companies and individuals make their own cryptocurrency. Decentralized blockchain solutions are making the world more transparent and giving power back to the people. Vercel Media has helped companies raise tens of millions in the past year alone, structuring and marketing ICOs to the thirsty crypto public worldwide. Don't miss the cryptocurrency revolution. Visit vercelmedia.com, VERCEL media.com.
Phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, Xkeyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey, y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now, here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now, they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
Number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. You can call in, talk about whatever you want here on Free Talk Live. Tell you about the Texas Bitcoin Conference. We are going to be there. That's Ian and I. Not you, Darryl. You're going to have to hold down the fort. Somebody has to.
Yeah.
That's the 4th Texas Bitcoin Conference, and it's October the 27th and 28th in Austin. By the way, I'm taking a big trip with my family on a train, so I will meet Ian there. Yep. Darryl, you're going to be taking me to the station. But there will be updates about my trip on the podcast. You can go to feeds.freetalklive.com. If you don't have the podcast or whatever, you can go there and hear the different ways, or get the different ways to get the podcast. But should be a great event. I'm looking forward to the Texas Bitcoin Conference. It's they'll have speakers including Paul Snow of Factum, Bruce Fenton of Ravencoin, Professor John M. Griffin, and more. Go to TexasBitcoinConference.com right now. Get your tickets. Free Talk Live will be there again, and we'd love to see you. TexasBitcoinConference.com. Now, before we get to the calls, and we do have a couple of them waiting on, I want to tell you, I looked up this California prisoners' rights thing, and I mean, they're pretty flimsy as far as rights goes. It's not like this is the right to, have a prostitute brought in to you every other week on Thursday. I probably shouldn't even mention that as I'm going to read what the rights are, but that is not one of them. All right, so the right to purchase, receive, and read any and all newspapers, periodicals, and books accepted for distribution in the United States Post Office. Obviously, they can't have, and then they go on, you can't have anything to do with inciting riots and arson and murder and things like that. Can't be obscene and a variety of anything like that. So,
and of course, they can't define obscene. The warden just knows it when he sees it.
Indeed. That's up to the courts, but that's basically the first thing. The second thing is to initiate civil actions. subject to a $3 filing fee to be collected by the Department of Corrections in addition to, so they can file a court case.
Yep.
They can get married. They can create a power of appointment. I mean, anybody in a hospital can do that. They can make a will. They can receive all benefits provided to whatever the labor code. So they're covered in the labor code to some extent. They can convey real property from one person to another. They can have written and artistic material. They can correspond confidentially with their attorney or correspond with other people. I mean, these aren't like all inmates in the United States have rights. The rights that are afforded to Californian inmates don't seem to be particularly amazing, speaking as a person who was in prison.
Right. And, it's important that they mention the right to confidentially correspond, specifically with an attorney.
Yeah.
Because, in some cases, and I think the place that I worked as a corrections officer 18 years ago, they had somebody that monitored all telephone calls. And the visitation rooms were monitored. So, ain't nothing confidential happening there. But if there was interaction with an attorney, I don't remember if they had special... They
usually have a special room for that.
Yeah, I don't remember if they did. Again, it's been 18 years, and that wasn't the area that I worked in. But, it is important to be able to confidentially talk to your attorney. That way, somebody's not then telling the prosecutor, oh, yeah, this is what this guy was talking to his attorney about.
Let's go to Matthew calling in from Louisiana. Matthew, you're on Free Talk Live.
You're talking about the, if I may digress from what I originally called about, you're talking about the life after prison. I know a couple of people who were sex offenders. They might as well have just kept them in prison.
Yeah, it's really rough on sex offenders specifically. And this is the saying that it's one of these truisms, I say you can't take bad people, put them in a bad place with other bad people, treat them badly for a period of time, and then expect them to get out and act good. I happen to be one of these, I'm the poster child for the correctional system out there. I turned around and all that stuff. But a lot of these people, they're bitter and, these kinds of things. And more punishment isn't what's going to make their lives, isn't what's going to turn them around.
And in regard to the sex offenders, some of the stuff that I've read is that that's part of the increase in the homeless population.
Yeah.
Is that sex offenders, they can't get work, they can't live anyplace. And the downside of them being homeless, because I know some of the listeners may be saying, well, they're sex offenders, who cares if they're homeless, who cares about them?
Right, sure.
Well, the thing about them being homeless is then they can't be tracked. Then it's very difficult to know where they are. Then they do, even though these rules about where they can live is designed so that they don't go near schools or places where vulnerable people are. If they're homeless, you can't stop them from going there. You don't know if they're there. So basically, in the end, it didn't do any good.
Plus, they end up collecting in certain housing areas. So it has the sort of the opposite effect. There's something worse than a sex offender, and that's a large group of sex offenders together. Do you really want these people getting together and making plans? I mean, if that's what you think they do, is getting in vans and trolling for kids, imagine if there's 2 or 3 of them and they can work together.
And I don't have all the magic answers for what to do with sex offenders. It's a very difficult problem. But just making it so that they can't live any place isn't working. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The biggest challenge that they have is that they keep expanding the definition of what constitutes a sex offender. And if you go to Wikipedia and you look up sexual assault, I suddenly realized I'm a sexual assaulter and I'm scared to death. Okay. The reason I called, though, has to do with the oil industry. And did you hear that the EPA has removed the permissible limit of 0 from radioactive materials?
No.
And this is going to be a boon for us. It's a minor boon. Yes.
Okay.
Here's why. Because all of the steel that is in the ground absorbs the background radiation from the Earth.
Okay.
Under the previous administration, it was considered too radioactive to recycle, even though it's no more radioactive than the thorium wedge in my tungsten electrode.
I'm not sure what your tungsten electrode is, but I can tell you that a stone building has more radioactivity than a wooden one. I know that my wife gives off radioactivity, and I sleep right next to her every single night.
Bananas?
Yeah. Food has radioactivity, and it wasn't necessarily irradiated in stores. The fact is that living things irradiate.
And so does the Earth.
Yeah.
And so now we will be able to recover and recycle the steel that isn't cemented in place from oil wells that are no longer producing, thereby decreasing the cost of oil wells, which should help decrease the cost of the fuel that they produce.
Sounds like a good thing for everybody. Thanks for the call, Matthew.
You're welcome.
855-450-3733. Chris calling in from New Hampshire.
Hey, guys. It's that Chris, by the way.
Hey.
I'll save you the trouble since Ian's not there. I'm the evil racist Chris in New Hampshire. He used to be a co-host. I heard that you guys had a co-host, a new co-host coming in today who's not an open borders lunatic, so I thought it'd be great to call in today.
How did you
talk
know?
about I talked to Ian earlier today, and so he told me that you're an immigration attorney and not a complete lunatic. So I said, all right, there's a reasonable person on Free Talk Live. Let's talk about trade. And so I used to think that all tariffs were bad, and I used to be like a orthodox free trader, unilateral free trader. And Trump completely convinced me that it made me look into trade policy and realize that, like, okay, if one country is doing tariffs and another isn't, this is creating sort of an incentive for resources to flow in one direction and not the other, and creating all manner of havoc on the economy. And I've been watching what Trump has been doing with trade, and I'm shocked to find out that I profoundly agree with it, and I figured I'd bring that up because it would create hell on Free Talk Live.
There's also the issue of if one country is having some environmental regulations and labor regulations that increase the price of the final product, and then another country doesn't have those, then the other country without those regulations has an unfair advantage, and that would be an argument for putting a tariff on those items.
Some countries incentivize by just funding certain industries with the hopes of undercutting other countries. The number's 855-450-3733. That's 855.
This November, I'm running the New York City Marathon as a member of Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. 2018 has been a banner year for the Innocence Project. Since January, 9 of their clients have walked free. Innocent people who combined to serve more than 200 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. And because of the Innocence Project, the risk of being wrongfully convicted has been greatly reduced for millions of people. October 2nd is International Wrongful Conviction Day. It's an opportunity to draw attention to the countless innocent men and women who remain behind bars and the need to reform our broken criminal justice system to prevent wrongful convictions. At any given time, the Innocence Project represents 200 clients who need their help to prove their innocence. This year, the Innocence Project helped pass a first-in-the-nation prosecutorial oversight law in New York and eyewitness identification reforms in New Hampshire and Louisiana. You can help the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
This is George Norrie from Coast to Coast AM and History Channel's Ancient Aliens. We are proud to promote amazing energy, nutrition, and skincare products from Jeunesse. Jeunesse is passionate about redefining youth through revolutionary products. Visit gcnlife.com for products like Luminesse from Dr. Nathan Newman. The Luminesse Anti-Aging Skincare line restores youthful vitality and radiance to your skin, reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles with stem cell technology. There's also Instantly Ageless, which works within 2 minutes, reducing under-eye bags, fine lines, wrinkles, and pores. Nobel-nominated Dr. Vincent Jampapa, Jeunesse medical advisor, has designed several products helping the body perform better through naturally occurring plant compounds. Jeunesse products have a 30-day money-back guarantee. They're available with up to 25% preferred price discount. See all of the amazing Jeunesse products at gcnlife.com. That's gcnlife.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market, making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. It's a live Sunday edition. It's Mark with you.
This is Laurel.
And Darryl.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. We're talking about, well, we were talking about criminal justice reform in California. We'll get back to that here in a minute. But Chris from New Hampshire called in, wanted to talk about tariffs. And he feels like he's got a Confederate here in Laurel, and absolutely, I don't think that he had. I don't think I disagree with him that much, but I'm interested in what he has to say. But first, I want to thank Darryl. Can you thank? I don't have my reading glasses on. Can you thank the amplifier there?
Adamo.
Adamo.
He is a platinum amplifier.
Awesome. Adamo Freeman, former Free Talk Live host here.
He did not give his last name, sir. It could be a different Adamo.
Yeah. Well, Freeman's probably not his last name. The number 855-450-3733.
Aren't you going to tell them how they too can be an amplifier and then get their name set out on the list?
Why don't you do that?
Go to amp.freetalklive.com, and the AMP program, AMP, of course, being an acronym for Advertise, Market, and Promote, and your $5 or more per month. Adamo, again, a platinum means that he's giving at least 25, and we thank everybody who is in the AMP program. But your $5 combined with other people's $5 or more per month helps us advertise, market, and promote the show to program directors who are the people at radio stations that make decisions, by and large, on what shows to carry. We're currently on 190 radio stations, broadcast stations, coast to coast. We could be on even more. AMP, amp.freetalklive.com.
Let's go back to Chris calling in from New Hampshire. So, Chris, tariffs, what do you like about them?
Well, I like that they make products more expensive and that they violate free market principles and the non-aggression principles. Really what I like about them more than anything.
I certainly don't like high prices. You're not going to get me on board with that.
Yeah. No, what I was really getting at, and Laurel sort of brought up, right? You have all these different economic incentives going on in different places. And if you don't put some controls on trade as a result, like really, really bad incentives get created that can bankrupt a country, And I mean, that's been what's happening to the United States. NAFTA like cleaned us out in terms of manufacturing. And I think you're seeing
manufacturing now more than it's ever manufactured before. I mean, we're exporting more for manufacture than we've ever exported before.
Well, I'm not into I don't know exactly what numbers you're looking at, but I know that we lost a lot of manufacturing with NAFTA.
Jobs. You lost a lot of manufacturing.
It's something that I've heard a whole lot. Maybe I stand corrected, but I don't have the data in front of me. That's
we've got robots to manufacture things in the United States. It's because the labor laws in the U.S. make it difficult to manufacture stuff. So, unionized labor is difficult to deal with, and it's just significantly cheaper to have a robot do the job.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the things that's happening is a lot of the manufacturing jobs that went to China are now coming back to the United States because of automation. So there are being more jobs created in the U.S., but it's not going to be those lower-level unskilled labor jobs. It's people who know how to manage the robots. And there's not going to be as many as there were before, but we are seeing them return.
But the unemployment's as low as it's ever been.
True.
I mean, there's an opportunity to work. There's an opportunity to work unskilled. You can still complain about your job. You don't have to have a manufacturing job and get with other people to complain about your job. You can get a job waiting tables and complain about that. Everybody loves a good surly waiter, so nothing lost there.
Well, the idea being, in any case, it's like it's not just a simple matter of people have this nasty tendency to reduce these things to you're imposing tariffs, therefore you're not for free trade or you're not for free markets. Let me take a couple of pokes at it, if I may. And it's just
Yeah. All right. So I have a trade deficit with Walmart, Target, Home Depot, a whole variety of places. I've got trade deficits all over the place. The people that buy my products are, in my case, that's radio ads. Buy my products and services are generally not the people with whom I have a trade deficit. They have a trade deficit with me. It's a network, a web of buying and selling, and you don't necessarily have to have a fair agreement in order for everybody to benefit. When somebody buys something, they don't buy it because they consider the price to be fair. They buy it because they consider the price to be acceptable, to be cheap. I'd rather have this $10 than I would a Twinkie. However, I might rather have a Twinkie than a dime. So it comes down to pricing, and when you let the free market work, it'll be fine. So run up against that, Cantwell.
Well, that's a fine theory, except that you're not dealing with a free market. A good example is Mexico is putting a 15% import tariff on basically everything that came out of the United States, and then we're allowing Mexico to, and there's no tariff on Mexican imports, right? And so you've got a one-way conveyor belt of resources out of the country, and then on the other end of that, you're subsidizing an invasion of immigration. So you got a one-way conveyor belt of resources out of the country, a one-way conveyor belt.
But they're not buying those things. If they cost 15% more in Mexico, then the resources aren't leaving the United States. It's the resources leaving Mexico because they're cheap here.
I'm talking about the money, actually. So, there's no trade reciprocity being created there. Okay, and so you having a trade deficit with your supermarket.
Mexico doesn't have a whole bunch of money there. Even if it was subsidized in whatever way, the Mexican market isn't going to spend that much more because they just don't have that much.
Well, the truth of the matter is every time Donald Trump talks about we're going to get a trade deal, and he says if not even better, right? The truth of the matter is, in the United States, we do not need to deal with the rest of the world if we don't want to, right? Which is why Trump has so much negotiating power under his belt. He comes in I'm a great negotiator, and I'm sure he is. But you don't have to be when you're the United States. Everybody wants to sell stuff to us, and honestly, we don't need everybody else, right? And so, you can take it to a position of trade isolationism.
Well, when they come in, when Mexican products come into the United States, because the manufacturing costs is lower, it lowers the price. It drives down the price of American goods and services, which is good for Americans who aren't making those things. I'm not manufacturing anything, so I therefore get the benefit of paying less for any particular product.
Right, unless your economy has been destroyed by the trade policy, in which case you are going to suffer in some other fashion, right? And
which way is that? Paint for me the picture of my upcoming doom.
Well, trade deficits matter when you're talking about sovereign entities, and I forget exactly the mechanics behind this. Peter Schiff has explained this, that trade deficits drive up the national debt, okay? And so, like when we're living on a trade deficit, we're living on an artificially high standard of living, which the United States has sort of had this habit of doing through monetary policy, borrowing, and everything else. Right? That's one of the ways that we have been doing that, and eventually it has to get fixed. Right? And so, it has not come home to roost just yet, but you eventually run out of the ability to do that.
Well, Americans are spending more than they make again. They did that in 2005, and then 2006 had a really unpleasant surprise for them. Americans are spending more than they make again, and if you want to put in place safeguards for people to act appropriately, I suppose you can do that. You could nanny state the world if you want. You can put you can round the hard edges and soften things up. I, however, have learned the lesson of spending frivolously and would prefer to just enjoy the low prices.
Well, I think it's good when there's a competition with the American products that makes the American products become less expensive. I think when it starts to become a problem is when the foreign products make it so that it's no longer financially reasonable for us to produce that product at all, and then we start to become dependent on the foreign
There's
market.
no toasters you can buy in the United States. As I've read some articles someplace, you just can't buy an American manufactured toaster. There are no more toasters.
Well, this is what happens. And with toasters, it's not the end of the world, right? But you look at something like steel, like a nation needs a steel industry, right? It's important for national security. It's important for a lot of different reasons, right? And so China will go and subsidize this steel. They dump steel over here to prevent us from having a steel industry, right? And then once they get to the point where they've got the control over the marketplace, then they can do whatever they want with the prices, And so these types of things, we don't need to be manufacturing brightly colored plastic garbage like a lot of the crap that gets imported from China, right? But, there are things that we do require as a society, and if we can't produce them by ourselves, and we're reliant upon foreign entities, and tariffs are one way to preserve those industries.
And one of the examples would be the transformers, the electrical transformers for the electrical grid. We no longer produce those in the United States at all. They have to be imported from Germany, and I forget whether it's Japan or Korea. So in the event that we need a transformer, we can't make it here at all.
You got to watch out for these Germans. You never know. Thanks for the call, Chris.
Thanks.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live. Or you can use our Discord chat. So all you got to do is go to discord.freetalklive.com. There's an app there. If you download that to your phone, you can call in and you'll sound a lot better. Discord.freetalklive.com.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you a few from Amazon.com. By Mel. Great product. My husband and father-in-law use it regularly. Both my husband and father-in-law have had significant change in their blood pressure and overall health. By Amazon customer. It works for me. Returned to buy the tincture and the capsules as they were on sale during February. Unlike some other products, this one worked for blood pressure and occasional irregular heartbeat. Extendivite produced noticeable results after just 2 bottles, a 4-month supply. I take Extendivite 3 times a day, every day. I think the supplement has helped with my increased fitness regime and to lower my blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, October 7th, 2018. Silver's trading at $14.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,203 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,561. Antiwar.com reports at a recent rally in Mississippi, President Donald Trump bragged about putting his foot down with Saudi Arabia's King Salman and demanding more military spending following accusations that he and other OPEC nations are ripping off the rest of the world. Trump told the rally, "I love the King Salman, but I said, King, we're protecting you. You might not be here for 2 weeks without us. You have to pay for your military." Trump did not indicate when he said this. This led to a response from Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who says that the U.S. armaments Saudi Arabia has were not free and that the Saudis bought everything with money. Indeed, Saudi Arabia has been among the world's leaders in military spending in recent years, reflecting massive expenditures on the war in Yemen and continued purchases of huge amounts of U.S. arms. Most scandals surrounding Saudi military spending are not that they're not spending enough, but that they're buying so much deadly armaments and killing so many civilians in neighboring Yemen. This has put U.S. arms sales to Saudi Arabia under growing scrutiny. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports President Donald Trump on Friday signed a 5-year reauthorization for the Federal Aviation Administration, which, among other things, seeks to regulate airplane seat size width. The Senate sent the bill to the president's desk on Wednesday after a 93-6 vote. Senators John Barrasso, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, Ed Markey, Jeff Merkley, and Ron Wyden were the no votes. Some of the changes the bill will make include prohibiting airlines from bumping a passenger who has already been seated, requiring the FAA to set minimum seat widths and distances between rows of seats, and permitting the Transportation Department to determine if airlines are justifiably blaming delays and cancellations on weather. The bill allocates $90 billion to federal aviation programs over the next 5 years. That amount does not include a proposed increase in the $4.50 per ticket passenger facility charge. This was the first time the FAA bill has been renewed for a 5-year period since the 1980s. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports 1,000 wild horses are to be rounded up in California by the U.S. Forest Service, and animal rights activists fear hundreds of them could be sold for slaughter. The Modoc National Forest in Northeast California plans to start the roundup and removal of the horses on Tuesday from the Devil's Garden Plateau Wild Horse Territory, according to a statement on its website. The more than 250,000-acre territory was designated for up to 402 adult horses, but the population has grown to almost 4,000. That has impacted the health of horses as they compete for limited food. It has also harmed scarce water sources, native grasses, and other wildlife. Under the plan, horses aged 10 and older will be available for adoption or sale, with limitations in November. Younger animals are also up for adoption, according to the National Forest website. A purchase agreement on the website states buyers must agree not to resell horses for slaughter, which is illegal under California law. According to the American Wild Horse Campaign, AWHC, the Forest Service plans to exploit a legal loophole to eventually sell the older horses horses, numbering around 300, without restriction, thus allowing buyers to ship them to Canada for slaughter. A ban on horse slaughter in the United States was renewed earlier this year. The practice is legal in Mexico and Canada, leading U.S. horse buyers to ship animals to those countries for slaughter and sell as horse meat to Europe and Asia. In a statement, the AWHC urged the Forest Service to reduce the wild horse population humanely over time by making removals incremental so homes can be found for all horses. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Here is the Onion Weekend Review Transportation Edition. In Albany, a Greyhound bus crash claimed 30 miserable lives Tuesday, finally putting over 24 deadbeat fathers, penniless drug addicts, and hapless bastards out of their misery. Emergency crews at the scene of the merciful accident described the sea of fast food bags, candy bar wrappers, and losing lottery tickets surrounding the crash site as utterly tragic, adding that the scorched corpses inside the bus were, quote, only slightly more lifeless than before the deadly accident.
Evidence suggests that most of the victims suffered during the crash, and for many years before they even boarded the bus. All I can say is, thank God no one made it.
Al-Qaeda is refusing to carry out any further terrorist attacks until the U.S. mass transportation infrastructure is drastically improved, calling the country's roads and bridges a, quote, travesty, unbecoming of a developed first world nation.
We want to turn your bridges into rubble. But if we took credit for making them collapse, no one would ever believe us.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Live Sunday edition. You can call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. That's why we call it Free Talk Live, because you're free to call in and talk live here on the radio. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
The number's 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-3733. Getting back to a Mother Jones article here, and apparently there's several criminal justice reforms going on in California right now. Looks like they're going to be signed today. Well, they don't have to be signed. They actually have to not be vetoed in order to become law.
Correct.
That's the way. Different states have different rules. So Senate Bill 1437 would revise California's felony murder rule, which holds that anyone, and by the way, this is the way it is in the vast majority of states, if not all of them, which holds that anyone who commits certain felonies may be convicted of murder if a death occurred during the commission of the crime, regardless of who the killer was. In other words, criminals can be sent to death row or prison for life even if they never laid a finger on the victim or didn't intend to harm anyone.
Right, so this story that I'm about to relay, not out of California, but I do remember there was the story a few months ago out of Alabama where a couple of teenage guys were, basically up to no good, had broken into some houses. A cop shot one of the guys in the back.
Yep.
And somebody that was with the group wound up getting charged with the felony murder.
That'll happen, yeah.
Even though he didn't have a weapon, he never shot a weapon, he never fired a weapon, he never stabbed, never did anything, but because someone died in the commission of the crime, he was charged with felony murder.
Yes, that is how the felony murder law works. There's also the misdemeanor manslaughter rule in many states where if you're committing a misdemeanor, for example, shoplifting, and somebody dies, then you can be convicted of manslaughter.
I wasn't familiar with that one. Interesting. So going on here, as long as the accomplice murdered someone. In one instance reported by the Marshall Project, 5 teenagers went to buy marijuana at a house near Malibu in 1995. 4 were convicted of murder after one of them fatally stabbed someone during the drug deal. Most were sentenced to life in prison. Under this new law, most murder convictions in these felony cases would be limited to the person who actually committed the killing, those who assisted the killer and intended to take a life, those that participated in the felony while acting with reckless indifference to human life. The bill would apply retroactively, allowing hundreds of people who are currently serving time for felony murder, disproportionately women and young men of color, to petition the court for shorter sentences. In the 1980s, the state Supreme Court described the felony murder rule as a barbaric policy from a bygone age. And as a person who was convicted under basically this Felony One Murder law, I gotta say, I think it's about time. It's really upsetting that basically I have to say, well, I don't have to, but I choose to. I choose to say, yeah, I'm a murderer because I was convicted of murder, but I never killed anybody. And, it seems like our jails could be better used than putting people in prison who'd never intended to kill anybody. Number two.
And again, in some cases, never even participated in the killing of someone. You just happen to have been close enough to the area when someone died.
That's mostly it. Yeah, they've got charges like accomplice, principal. They have charges for this. We don't need
conspiracy too.
Yeah, we don't particularly need this charge in order to be able to sentence people correctly. We've got this covered, folks.
Right, but see, a lot of times they wind up doing this charge stacking thing of, oh, well, they fit the criteria for this, and then you wind up with 5 or 10 different charges, and then that's where the pleas come in. We'll start playing, let's make a deal. All right, so we've got 10 charges on you. We'll drop 3 of these if you plead to the others. And then I know you should wind up facing 100 years in prison. We'll just say 5 years, call it a good day.
Well, I think that plea bargaining can certainly end up with people getting the right amount of time. It can end up with them getting fine sentencing and all that. But in many cases, people who are not guilty take plea bargains simply because the system isn't even set up anymore to give trials.
Right.
Far fewer than 1% of arrests result in a trial. And it's no longer CSI out there, people.
Right.
I don't know what the shows are that actually have trials. It's not Perry Mason, and these things have changed. It's not Law and Order in there anymore. That people aren't going to trial.
Right. And there's a podcast that I listen to, Wrongful Conviction, with Jason Flom. And something that has been repeated throughout numerous interviews that he's done is the criminal justice system that we have is completely screwed up to where if you say, I'm guilty, you get to go home. If you say, I didn't do this, you go to prison for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's a real mess. Statistically, some of the people that are arrested by our fine boys in blue out there are not guilty, right? Because humans make mistakes, and that's the reason we have a criminal justice system. What's happened is, over the course of 240 years of bureaucracy, is that prosecutors, law enforcement, judges, these people have figured out ways to get around having to do their jobs and give somebody a trial. Admittedly, not all trials are fair, but they they deserve to have one. Innocent people, to me, seem more likely to take a case to trial, but it's about 2/3 of people who take a felony charge to trial end up convicted,
right?
And that's a mess.
There's also a lot of people that will take what's called an Alford plea, which is something that I had not heard of until a couple of years ago, and it's something that I'm guessing a lot of other people have not heard of. So what an Alford plea is where you say, you have enough evidence to convict me, but I am not saying that I am guilty.
Right.
It's the no contest.
Yeah, no contest. That's the plea. And then some cases there won't be an adjudication of guilt necessarily with the sentence.
So having dealt with a lot of people, and I do immigration, I don't do criminal stuff, but a fair number of my clients have convictions. And I would say most of them, almost all of them pleaded guilty. It's very rare for me to see anybody who actually went to trial. And I think I've only had one who pleaded no contest. The truth is most of them actually did it. But rarely I have seen people who, in my opinion, once I looked at all the facts, I did not think that they were guilty. I've seen it a couple of times.
I like the term 15%, but that's just...
that sounds a little little
floated
high.
out there.
But
That's
I
why
have
it's hurt.
also seen, I've had very few very wealthy clients who've been accused of criminal activity. And I would say if you have a lot of money, you're not going to get convicted unless like you were really, really stupid and there's tons and tons of evidence. So the whole justice system is definitely skewed so that people who have a lot of money are far more likely to get away with stuff than anybody else.
Yeah, that's the truth. There's no way to avoid that. Let's go to Sarah calling in from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
I just wanted to mention that we're having the flu and the cold season, and I am convinced that probiotics, the good bacteria in yogurt, or that you could take it in vitamins form, will actually help flu and cold.
I don't know if it'll do that. It'll help digestion, is my experience. I've taken them.
Right. Well, that's the whole cell of it. It's supposed to help digestion. But what I'm saying is that in addition that nobody, I'm noticing it. That if they're, hello, are you still with me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know if I got cut off because these phones, I have no idea what's going on. So what I'm saying is that this is my hypothesis. This is my logic, is that flu viruses are sometimes intestinal viruses. They're like stomach flus and so forth. So those are bad bacteria. So if you replenish it with a good, healthy bacteria,
it can't hurt, right? The number 855-450-3733. Sorry, can't do anything about the clock. 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Hey, you. Yeah, you.
Your imagination is limitless. Your potential is limitless.
We create websites, mobile apps, and animation. Let's design your story. SunstoneDigitalTech.com. 20% off. Quick, call 888-211-7519.
We are digital.
Call now, 888-211-7519. Sunstone Digital Tech.
Limited time, limitless digital experiences.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. SaveATPurse.com.
Does this ever happen to you? Moments after you're introduced to someone, you forget his or her name. It's a common faux pas you'll want to avoid, especially if you're a job seeker. And even if you're not, here's a tip. As you are being introduced, and while you're still shaking hands, smiling, and making eye contact, say the person's name aloud. Not only does that make a deposit in your memory bank, it acknowledges the other person. And that is more than a nuance, as is maintaining eye contact. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. It's the Live Sunday edition. And Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind here on Free Talk Live. Right now, we're talking about criminal justice reforms going on in California, and usually I don't have nice things to say about California, but today I'm saying nicer things than usual. You can call in and comment. Surely I'm wrong on something. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. But let's go to Parker, who's calling in from Washington. Parker, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mark, Darryl, Laurel, how's it going?
Good.
Good. What's on your mind?
Oh, not a whole lot. Before I get into my topic, I have one suggestion for your podcast. That's the way I listen to the show. So, are you guys at all familiar with the Ernest Hancock's show, Declare Your Independence?
Yeah, we syndicate him on the Liberty Radio Network at lrn.fm, and I've been to Ernie's house, and I've sat in on his show live from Phoenix.
Right. Well, what he does with his recordings of the show is he will record not just what he's talking about while he's on the air, but he also records conversations that are being had during the breaks. So if you guys could sort of get that going, that'd be great.
If I did that, I would only do it for amplifiers. And
okay, yeah, I
see what Ernie does. He connects through something called a Comrex to the Liberty Radio Network, and most of his guests aren't in his studio. They're connecting to him via phone call, and he just sets up his recorder, and he hits record at the beginning of his show at 9 o'clock Eastern, and he stops it either at noon or whenever his conversation with the person winds up ending the conversation, which he's had shows go until like 1:30 in the afternoon because Ernie likes to talk.
Yeah, I've noticed that he puts out a lot of content, and it's like, I can't listen to all this. Delete.
So
but,
you're telling me to go about doing something that you delete?
Not necessarily, because you guys would put out not the same amount of you'd put out the same amount of content that you normally do with the show. It's just that instead you'd be putting out extra stuff that no one
Right,
hears.
so basically you want the podcast to be 40 minutes longer and contain a lot of silence.
Yeah, because that's the thing is that Ernie's a talker here in the studio. It's kind of rough for new folks like Laurel. We're just either looking at stuff on our laptops or whatever.
They're pretty boring during the breaks.
Yeah, it's boring during the breaks.
So you guys aren't actually having other
Generally, we're not.
conversations that are
No.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so anyway, to the topic.
That wasn't the topic?
You guys, okay, so the topic is what I would call the Unanimous Consent Act. Now, yesterday you guys were talking about voting and how your vote doesn't matter, which is absolutely true. Your vote does not matter because at no point will you ever have a circumstance where your vote makes or breaks an election or anything else for that matter. However, and before I go any further, I'd like to preface that this is essentially nothing less than like a pipe dream. I realize that the likelihood of this.
When you start using terms like never, I must point out that I've had two instances in the town I used to live in where I, in fact, was the deciding vote two different times. In one case, I was there. In one case, I wasn't. In one case, something passed because I wasn't there. In another case, something didn't pass because I was. And so it's possible if you have a small enough group of people, when it's a town of 1,600 people and it's a town meeting on a budgetary concern and 250 to 350 people are in a school gymnasium, then it's possible statistically that there might be...
Statistically possible, but very improbable.
Right, and this wasn't a 50-50 vote. It has to be by 66%, so that makes the math a little more likely that you're gonna have an effect. If it has to be 75%, it's even more likely. So,
but here's there's what, 360 million Americans in the United States, give or take?
Around 320.
Yeah, I thought it was 330. Okay.
320, 330.
Yeah, and then there are different ages.
Well, Lysander Spinner laid it out very well in the Constitution of No Authority that the people that claim to represent you don't actually represent you for numerous reasons. They don't have power of attorney. They are not responsible to you for any of the actions.
He wrote that in
actions,
1870, back when there was still a mandate on having a certain amount of representatives per certain number of citizens.
Right.
Now they don't.
Right. And the only way that a so-called representative could actually represent you is if everyone, if everyone had unanimous agreement on who their representatives would be, and then those representatives would vote.
What's the point of that? I mean, we all know that politicians can't possibly represent us 100%. So
the idea, and again, this is a pipe dream. Just bear with me on this.
Okay.
But the idea would be that you have what would be called the Unanimous Consent Act, which would essentially nullify any laws that were passed without unanimous consent prior to the act being put in place, and then all other acts after, or all legislation after the act being put in place would have to be passed with unanimous consent. Any votes in dissent to the act, to further acts, would basically put the brakes on things, and it would not be able to proceed forward until...
I used to be a Quaker, and everything in the meeting house had to be done unanimously, and we never got anything done. We could never reach a unanimous decision on anything. Nothing ever happened.
That's kind of the point he's trying to make. Congress should not pass any laws. Like the Congress shall pass no law are my 5 favorite words in the Constitution. Unfortunately, there are a bunch of other words that follow that.
Yeah, there's nothing like sitting through a meeting for business and a Quaker meeting to disabuse you of those notions. It can take a long time to get things done, but one would presume if the most august legal minds in our nation happen to be sitting together in a room, that they should be able to come together unanimously and make the very best laws. I mean, it sounds great.
The entire concept of this would be to create a system that, by design, creates gridlock, so much so that while the bureaucrats and politicians are bickering in Olympia or Washington or any other state house or capital, the free market will take hold and say, well, you guys aren't fixing this, so we'll fix it.
Let's just reinstate the Articles of Confederation. It'll be a lot easier to do than whatever the thing you're talking about.
Thanks for the call, Parker. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
Free Talk Live.
As long as the majority of people say that you can't smoke in public, or the majority of people say you can't have a windmill in your yard, or the majority of people say you can't wear your pants down around your butt, or the majority of people say that you can't contract to live with the person you want to live with, or the majority of the people say that you've got to pay for public schools. As long as the majority says it, it must be okay, because crowds have wisdom. Oh, come on.
Nonsense.
Crowds lynched people for being witches.
There's so many instances in history where we acknowledge now that the majority was massively and horribly wrong.
Yes.
But why aren't we acknowledging it? That, look, we've had precedent for that. Why aren't we acknowledging it now in terms of how we decide how we're going to interact with each other? That, look, maybe that's not a good way to figure out right and wrong. That the majority believes in a certain thing. And that's how we find out right from wrong.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live. Talking about some criminal justice reforms going on in California and taking your calls. That's what we do here on Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
855-450-3733. Want to tell you about Zen. So Zencash is now Horizon. Zencash was the name of the organization. They still have the currency, which is called Zen, and we're actually giving some away. Over the last 8 weeks, Free Talks Live's given away over 11 Zen, and we're giving away some more. To enter the next giveaway, send your transparent Zen address. That means the kind that isn't completely private. Send it via email to Daryl@freetalklive.com.
That's me.
Yeah, and tell us how you listen to the show. The winner will be randomly selected from all entries and received before noon on Wednesday, October the 10th. Now, if you don't send the address and you don't tell Daryl how you listen to the show, you have not complied with the rules of the contest.
Correct.
This giveaway is open to all listeners of the show who have not won any of the previous Zen in the giveaways, and anyone who enters will be automatically entered to the grand prize drawing on November the 7th. So you can learn more about Horizon at horizon.global. That's HORIZEN.global. The grand prize, by the way, is 2 Zen. So horizon.global. Let's go to Robert, calling in from Vermont. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
How do I sound, okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, great, because I've been having issues with the phone. But I had a question I wanted to ask the attorney.
Okay.
How difficult is it to investigate a police officer or to retrieve an investigation that had been done on the police officer?
Okay, I do immigration, and while I do know a few things about a number of different areas of law, I'm not really an expert in any other area, and that's a very particular question about criminal law. I think I'm going to have to pass on that one. I really wouldn't know how to investigate a police officer.
That's one of the things. Thanks for the call, Robert. Appreciate it. That's one of the things about being an attorney is you could be a podiatrist and somebody calls in about brain surgery. It's like, well, if it was in your foot, I'd be able to tell you. But I don't.
Yeah, not too many people have their brains in their foot.
Yep. Yeah, that's why podiatrists aren't the people to call about brain surgery.
Although I've met a few.
But, you're probably better off with a podiatrist, than just your average person. So I appreciate it. Appreciate the call. Going on here, some criminal justice reforms going on in California. Another one is another bill, Senate Bill 1421, would make police disciplinary records available to the public when an officer commits sexual assault or lies on the job. The bill, introduced by Senator Nancy Skinner of Berkeley. Skinner. This is about sexual assaults, and the woman's name is Skinner. But for those that don't know, one of the prison nicknames for people who commit sexual assaults is Skinner.
Yeah, I figured when you started laughing, I was missing some kind of prison joke.
Yeah. It's like a senator putting a rule in place about inmates and homemade knives being named Senator Shank.
Yeah.
Senator Shiv. Whatever. Let's see. It would also allow people to request access to investigations on records related to an officer's use of serious or deadly force. Currently, as San Francisco Chronicle reports, police personal records are shielded from public scrutiny, even when there has been substantial misconduct.
See, I think that they should have to abide by the same rules we do as attorneys. If we're disciplined in any way, the entire trial is made public for, the period, basically forever. If you're disciplined, if you are suspended, it'll say why, and there'll be a transcript of what happened.
Sounds fair to me. I don't see.
So if we have to go through that, so should the cops, and so should the doctors, et cetera. It should all be a matter of public. If you lost your trial, if you won, okay, keep it private. But if you lost, no, it's public.
And I know that there's some kind of thing here in New Hampshire with what's called the Lori list, where it's a list of police officers that have been, I think, found guilty of various things, and there's actually, I think it's half a dozen journalistic organizations plus the ACLU that are suing to try to get a copy of this list that the Freedom of Information Act law completely protects because they consider it to be part of the personnel file.
Yeah. Well, that's essentially a public sector union issue. So the police officers have unions, and they get the rules written the way they want them written. And it doesn't have anything to do with the real employer, which is supposed to be you and I. We're certainly the ones that pay the paychecks, but not. We really don't have any of the rights of an employer.
Right. The employer would be the city manager, the police chief, the town council, or something.
So here's one that I'm surprised. Like, for one, when I hear the terms criminal justice reforms from California, as a person who's, kind of from the right side of the spectrum generally, I kind of shudder a little. Anything that comes out of California, I'm just cringing, waiting for, some bad news. But most of these, I think, have been pretty good ideas so far. This one, keeping young kids out of jail. Now, I happen to be incarcerated at a youthful offender prison, and they had people as young as 12 years old. My son's 10, and the idea that, first off, that a 12-year-old would be incarcerated with 25-year-olds sounds ridiculous to me. I mean,
yeah.
I wonder if they're going to get exploited in some manner or another. But, it's a real... You've really thrown up your hands and said, well, there's nothing we can do with this 12-year-old if you're sending them off to prison. There has to be something else they can do. Anyway, Senate Bill 439 would keep most kids younger than 12 away from the juvenile justice system. Unlike 21 other states, California currently does not have a minimum age limit for juvenile courts, which means children as young as 5 are sometimes prosecuted. In a recent op-ed supporting SB 439, Laura Garnett, Chief Probation Officer for Santa Clara County, described a 10-year-old, same age as my son, who had been detained in juvenile hall for a minor offense. The justice system has no place for very young children. We had to give him a box to stand on so he could peer out of the window of his cell. He couldn't reach the privacy curtain to his cell to use the toilet, and he felt alone and scared that we brought him stuffed animals to comfort him. Last year, 637 kids younger than 12 were referred to probation in California, mostly for minor offenses like curfew violations and misdemeanors. The bill on Brown's desk would encourage law enforcement to release kids to their parents or guardians instead. However, young children who are accused of murder, rape, and violent sexual crimes could still be brought to juvenile court. I presume they should be, but I feel like there's so few options for judges out there. Having been in prison, I can say this is like, it's not just giving a man a hammer, it's giving a man only a hammer.
Right.
Like, there's nothing else they can do. Basically, there's prison and nothing else that judges can do. They can try, at-home detention, but essentially they're vilified.
Juvenile detention facilities anymore?
Yeah, there are juvenile detention facilities, but what is that? It's a prison for young people. I mean, it's really no different.
Right, but it solves the problem of having a 12-year-old in lockdown next to a 30-year-old.
Yeah, I can tell you that in my experience, the people I talk to, I've never been to a juvenile detention center, but I can tell you the people I've talked to, the sexual assaults occur in juvenile detention centers, not in prison. The people that I met that went through lots of them that went through the juvenile system ended up in the youthful offender system. That's where the touching goes on. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying I've got a lot of answers here, but because a lot of times you're dealing with, releasing them to parents. The parents are the problems.
Yeah.
Right.
There's not a lot of good, good advice I've got, but prison and juvenile detention center.
Foster care for teenagers isn't really better.
Right.
Well, I've seen some good foster parents, and I've heard of some really bad ones. Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. Usually it's too late by then, by teenage years. Free Talk Live.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Your
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening in your home anytime, anywhere. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
This is George Norrie from Coast to Coast AM and History Channel's Ancient Aliens. We promote the amazing energy, nutrition, and skincare products from Jeunesse and invite you to try them today by visiting gcnlife.com. Jeunesse products are designed by leading doctors in their field with natural ingredients and even stem cell technology. These products help your body perform and look better. Jeunesse products have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Shop Jeunesse at gcnlife.com. That's gcnlife.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Talk Live Sunday edition. You can call in and talk about whatever you want. We're talking about some criminal justice reforms going on in California right now, being signed into law. Best we can tell, they've all been. You're welcome to call in and comment on that. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl. And want to tell you about Liberty.menu. For a long time, and I can think of at least a decade, libertarians have wanted a directory of liberty-minded businesses. Well, Liberty.menu is one, and it's a tool for our community. At its core is a directory for events, businesses, digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, kind of like on Yelp, but there's also a bit of a social networking aspect where you can connect and share with other users. Use of Liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu and use code FTL to get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. Liberty.menu.
So some of these reforms that are going on in California, and mind you, I'm not someone who praises things that go on in California too often, but there's another Senate bill here that's going to prevent some teens from being tried as an adult. And this is something I've harped on for some time, is if you can try a teen for an adult because they've committed an adult crime, this is what I've heard people say, and I'm not saying there aren't crimes out there that are heinous that young people shouldn't receive long sentences for or whatever, but if you can commit as a juvenile, you can commit an adult crime, then as an adult, can you commit a juvenile crime?
No.
If I went, over town here and I got a can of spray paint and I painted, I don't know, taxes are theft on the side of the IRS building, would I be sentenced as a juvenile?
It would be pretty juvenile behavior.
It would be juvenile type behavior, right? Spray painting anything is pretty juvenile behavior. And so.
But you do bring up a good point. Because there are some adults that only have the mental capacity of a child, but they're not charged as a juvenile. They don't go to a juvenile court. They are charged as an adult. They go to the adult courts even though they don't necessarily understand or comprehend what's going on.
If they don't understand what's going on, then they can't be tried. They would actually be found incompetent. If they truly don't understand and they can't participate in their defense, then they wouldn't stand trial at all.
Well,
but I've seen numerous stories of adults with IQs of 70 to 80 that are convicted of murder even though they could not comprehend what was happening.
Someone with an IQ of 70 to 80 is going to understand, more than somebody with an IQ of 40. So the question is, do they understand what's happening? Maybe they can have a lower mental capacity. Somebody with an IQ of 70 to 80 is considered borderline. They're not actually mentally disabled. Mentally disabled is below 70.
So one thing I can say is that obviously people mature at different speeds. So if we use this term 18 as adult, a majority age, then one would presume, and by the way, they mature in different ways at different speeds. So you could physically mature, you could have a mature sense of, I don't know, mathematics, but not a particularly mature sense of, right and wrong or whatever. I went through my juvenile career in high school, and I never got caught for anything I ever did. The first crime that I was ever convicted of was the crime that I went to prison for, and I gotta say that if I'd been caught doing some, skipping lunch line or something, probably would have been a little more mature, but I just kept on feeling like I could get away with things. So I think that to some extent that's a maturity. Anyway, all I'm saying, we'll go on here talking about this, and we'll see what we think about it.
So I'm trying to find what the IQ was of Ricky Ray Rector.
Okay.
Does that name sound familiar to either of you?
No.
He was executed in 1992 in Arkansas when Bill Clinton was the governor.
All right.
Ricky Ray Rector, for his last meal, did not eat his dessert, and when asked, he said, "Oh, I'll come back and eat that when we're done with the thing." He had no clue that he was about to die.
Clearly.
Yeah, so
but
his
he
attorney
was executed, and he was considered, mentally competent.
Yeah, so that's obviously a mistake. He shouldn't have stood trial at all because he's clearly not competent.
But obviously, when people don't stand trial, they're not getting away with it, right? They're not just saying, "Oh, well, too dumb to handle this. Let's just let him back out on the streets."
Right. It's basically what you're describing. Somebody who genuinely doesn't understand. Like if you have somebody who's mentally disabled and they take something from the store, while their mom isn't looking, and even if it's an adult, he doesn't understand that that's stealing. So he doesn't understand that he's done anything wrong. So he wouldn't be standing trial because he's not competent.
Yeah, he can't defend himself. But I'm sure that some dum-dums have committed murder in the past, and those people should go to mental hospitals to live out the rest of their lives. I'm not saying they should get away with anything, but at the same time,
my point is that there are rules on the book that are supposed to prevent this from happening.
In theory,
and yes, people are going to
supposed to
exactly. People are going to slip through, and I don't think. But there is the rule. So creating the rule isn't going to solve the problem because it already exists.
And I tend to not lose too much sleep over people with low IQs that kill people getting executed. I don't know if he did or not. I'm just saying that I tend not to lose sleep with it. It's a great story, mind you.
Great as in absolutely horrible.
Well, it's great because it illustrates, that some people are clearly not understanding what's going on, right?
And there's actually a Supreme Court case that the court heard the arguments, I think, a week and a half ago about a guy that's in death row in Alabama. He's had several strokes over the years that he's been on death row. I think it's been close to 30 now. And he has severe dementia, has no recollection of the crime that happened or why he is incarcerated.
Sure.
And so the Supreme Court is going to have to decide whether or not he can be executed for the crime.
Yeah, this is another issue that prisons are having to deal with is that because longer sentences are being implemented and you've got people who committed crimes in their 20s and teens now, heading up into their 70s and 80s, it's more and more prisons are having to confront what to do with the geriatric inmates. And it used to be they'd just kick them out because statistically, if you released everybody at the age of 27, the likelihood of them recommitting is low.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't do that because the notion is that somehow legislators who came up with these sentencing guidelines know best as to how long somebody should be in prison. Honestly, it's different for everybody, and that if you care about anything like rehabilitation, then that's a different period of time for everybody, and I don't think a parole board can even figure that out either.
The reason it's kind of twofold. The way that mandatory minimum sentencing came about, it came about because some politicians were quote unquote upset that certain judges were giving certain people different sentences for the same crime. And they also wanted to be able to tell their constituents, I'm tough on crime.
Sure.
And if you look at the graphs of prison population, you will see that in the early to mid 1980s, once mandatory minimum sentencing guidelines came in, they just start going straight up.
Yeah, well, the crime rate went down too at that same time. So it's causation, correlation. We don't know. Maybe this system of throw them all away and throw away the key. Maybe it's reduced crime, but on a worldwide scale, crime's reduced too, and they don't all have the same policies the United States does. So
the
you
U.S.
can come up with your own
has
conclusions.
What is it? 25% of all inmates, but only 5% of the human population.
Yeah, the incarceration rate in the United States per capita is remarkably higher than it is in other countries.
And some of the reduction in the crime rate just simply has to do with an aging population. It's what you mentioned before, that most of the crimes are committed by males between the ages, I think, 15 and 27.
Yeah,
and so as we become an older average age in the population, you would expect to see the crime rate to go down.
This Senate Bill 1391 would prohibit prosecutors from recommending that 14 and 15-year-olds be tried and sentenced as adults. Currently, teens this age who commit certain serious crimes can be transferred to adult courts with a judge's approval. Once in the adult system, they can face lengthy sentences, even life in prison. And I gotta say, I saw that, and it doesn't say much about mercy or the ability to reform. The idea that our justice system gives the ability to reform if you're putting a 14-year-old in prison for life. 855 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE.
Normal blood pressure, naturally. How would that make you feel?
I'm Don from New Mexico. January of 2000, I had a heart attack. Then my real health began going downhill. I had high blood pressure, diabetes, poor vision. I wasn't sleeping well. I was a mess.
Don reports dramatic improvements with Heart and Body Extract.
I started taking Heart and Body Extract. From within a few days, I started sleeping better. My blood pressure normalized. My diabetes normalized. My sleep improved.
Experience these benefits and more when your body heals itself with the assistance of Heart and Body Extract. Order at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305. That's hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305.
And folks, I did not expect this at all. By the 7th, 8th, and 9th day, I saw dramatic improvements from taking Heart and Body Extract.
Heart and Body Extract comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, October 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.63 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,203 per ounce. Zen is trading at $16, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,561. Antiwar.com reports at a recent rally in Mississippi, President Donald Trump bragged about putting his foot down with Saudi Arabia's King Salman and demanding more military spending following accusations that he and other OPEC nations are ripping off the rest of the world. Trump told the rally, "I love the King, King Salman, but I said, King, we're protecting you. You might not be here for 2 weeks without us. You have to pay for your military." Trump did not indicate when he said this. This led to a response from Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who says that the U.S. armaments Saudi Arabia has were not free and that the Saudis bought everything with money. Indeed, Saudi Arabia has been among the world's leaders in military spending in recent years, reflecting massive expenditures on the war in Yemen and continued purchases of huge amounts of U.S. arms. Most scandals surrounding Saudi military spending are not that they're not spending enough, but that they're buying so much deadly armaments and killing so many civilians in neighboring Yemen. This has put U.S. arms sales to Saudi Arabia under growing scrutiny. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports President Donald Trump on Friday signed a 5-year reauthorization for the Federal Aviation Administration, which, among other things, seeks to regulate airplane seat size width. The Senate sent the bill to the president's desk on Wednesday after a 93-6 vote. Senators John Barrasso, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, Ed Markey, Jeff Merkley, and Ron Wyden were the no votes. Some of the changes the bill will make include prohibiting airlines from bumping a passenger who has already been seated, requiring the FAA to set minimum seat widths, and and distances between rows of seats, and permitting the Transportation Department to determine if airlines are justifiably blaming delays and cancellations on weather. The bill allocates $90 billion to federal aviation programs over the next 5 years. That amount does not include a proposed increase in the $4.50 per ticket passenger facility charge. This was the first time the FAA bill has been renewed for a 5-year period since the 1980s. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports 1,000 wild horses are to be rounded up in California by the U.S. Forest Service, and animal rights activists fear hundreds of them could be sold for slaughter. The Modoc National Forest in Northeast California plans to start the roundup and removal of the horses on Tuesday from the Devil's Garden Plateau Wild Horse Territory, according to a statement on its website. The more than 250,000-acre territory was designated for up to 402 adult horses, but the population has grown to almost 4,000. That has impacted the health of horses as they compete for limited food. It has also harmed scarce water sources, native grasses, and other wildlife. Under the plan, horses aged 10 and older will be available for adoption or sale, with limitations in November. Younger animals are also up for adoption, according to the National Forest website. A purchase agreement on the website states buyers must agree not to resell horses for slaughter, which is illegal under California law. According to the American Wild Horse Campaign, AWHC, the Forest Service plans to exploit a legal loophole to eventually sell the older horses, numbering around 300, without restriction, thus allowing buyers to ship them to Canada for slaughter. A ban on horse slaughter in the United States was renewed earlier this year. The practice is legal in Mexico and Canada, leading U.S. horse buyers to ship animals to those countries for slaughter and sell as horse meat to Europe and Asia. In a statement, the AWHC urged the Forest Service to reduce the wild horse population humanely over time by making removals incremental so homes can be found for all horses. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
If you're the parent of a man-child, you know how frustrating it can sometimes be. The piercing sound of his video games waking you up at 2 in the morning. His insatiable hunger and inability to cook anything for himself. The messes he makes. The stress can be overwhelming.
Something will set them off, such as their man-child will tell them that they don't know how to tie a tie even though they're almost 30. They'll start shaking them and yelling and saying, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why don't you get a real job instead of working part-time at a board game store?"
The results of shaken man-child syndrome are devastating. Trauma caused by the brain colliding with the inside of the man-child's skull can lead to cognitive disabilities, making it even more unlikely he'll finally marry the girl he's been having a long-distance online relationship with for 6 years. Or it can even lead to death.
He's not spilling cereal all over the couch or leaving his beard clippings in the bathroom sink intentionally. He truly does not know what he's doing.
For the Lab Report, I'm Stuart Adams.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, kicking off the third hour. You can call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
And, what we're talking about here right now, and by the way, you don't have to call in on topic. That's not what we do. It's Free Talk Live. You're free to call in and talk live here on the radio about whatever's on your mind. As we're talking about some changes going on in the California judicial system. And whether you like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, the way California goes, so goes the nation. Because
generally,
when for instance, the catalytic converters were put on the cars, all kinds of rules that California puts on emissions and these kind of things, they affect things.
Well, let's think of some good things that California has done, like introduce to the United States therapeutic cannabis.
All right, I guess that's about it.
Yeah, that's the only one that I can think of that turned out to be good, and now depending on how you count, it's anywhere between 27 to 42 states that have some form of therapeutic cannabis.
So when it comes to these reforms that are going on in California, so far I haven't had one that I've really been upset about. I'm not a big fan. I am an ex-convict, but I'm not a big fan of convicts. I generally felt like they were pretty bad people, most by and large. I've met a lot of them, and I don't feel bad that most of the ones that I met were in jail, at least for a period of time. But you've got to take a practical look at inmates. You can't just say bad and forget about them.
Right. And, this sort of starts the question of, were they really bad people? And I'm using air quotes for those not watching the webcam at twitch.lrn.fm. Were they really bad people before they got incarcerated, or did they turn into really bad people because of the horrible place that they were put in?
Right. Well, I'll say further is that you have to operate in a certain fashion to sort of make it in prison. You have to be tougher than you would otherwise, and those sorts of things. And that's just how it is. So it's going to turn. For a year at least, when I got out of prison, I really couldn't even communicate properly with a good percentage of the population who was sort of on the free folks. I just use different diction, different ways of communicating. I was rougher and tougher with people sort of verbally than I should have been. I remember picking up this, I was going to college at Manatee Community College, and I picked up this gal who I saw walking several days going to school, and she said something about, I never get in the car with strangers, which, of course, she had just gotten into the car with a stranger, but I guess I seemed like a less strange stranger. And then I said, this girl had all kinds of piercings and stuff, and I said, wow, you got a pound of metal hanging out of your face and you're calling me strange. Because it was a joke, right? It was supposed to be funny. Uh-huh. But she, to her, that was too confronting.
Right.
And, I've got my straight face on because I'm delivering comedy. Uh-huh. But she just didn't take it that way. That was shortly before I dropped her off, and she's like, yeah, let's go get out of this car. She just wanted out of the car. Okay. Bye-bye. And that was that. I actually never saw her walking to school again, whatever the case may be. Anyway, that's my story, and it's just a sort of evidence of how I was probably a little rougher than I could be with other folks.
So that's an argument for having more social services for people as they're coming out of prison. But then the counter argument to that is, wait, so you have to go to prison to get extra social services?
Sure.
So then it's not fair to the people who never committed the crime that they don't get that extra help. So I don't really know how to fix that.
Right. I think that mostly I don't care what happens to people who go to prison. I just think that we should send far fewer people there. I think that the prisons are for people who are dangerous and need to be segregated from society, or people who simply can't learn from other forms of punishment. So, for instance, if you got a burglar who keeps on burglarizing people, he's not dangerous. Mm-hmm. Like, at no point has he beaten up some old person into whose house he's broken or anything like that. He is simply a person who just won't stop stealing. At some point or another, fine, let's try prison and see if this will convince Johnny to stop breaking into people's houses. I'm fine with that one too.
Right,
but the vast majority of people who are in prison are in for drug crimes, which mostly
possession.
Yeah, possession and drug crimes and these sorts of things. And to me, they're just filling a place in the marketplace. Yeah, they're probably participating in violent acts in the sense that the drug industry is violent, but it seems like the government tries to make it more as violent as it possibly can. So
right, and going back to the burglar thing, if we had a system of restitution, which we do not, then maybe after violent burglar or non-violent burglar guy broke a few windows and stole some stuff, you have to pay for the windows to be replaced. You have to return the items that you stole, and you have to give an additional, bounty or something to the person that you have victimized. Maybe they'll realize this type of crime doesn't pay.
Well, that person will likely end up at basically a private type prison anyway, because if the judge says, well, you owe $100,000 for all these burglaries you committed to find more crack or whatever it is that you're trying to do, and clearly they don't have $100,000, that's why they were breaking into houses in the first place, then they'll probably end up with some company that basically allows them to sell themselves into indentured servitude, doing dangerous jobs, I don't know, recycling computer parts or something like that.
Alaskan crab fishermen.
Whatever it might be. Yeah, we'll put up that $100,000 and you'll give us 3 years worth of labor for it.
Right, and this does bring us to the question of, well, if we're not going to put them into prison, what are we going to do with them? Because I've heard a lot of the arguments about fines being unfair to the poor, that they can't really pay the fines. And
they end up in prison anyway.
I hear what they're saying, but then, okay, so what are we going to do? What should it be if it's not prison and it's not fines? We don't have a whole lot of other options for the way we can deter those sort of offenses.
Right, the pillory is considered cruel and unusual. The stocks, you can't do those things anymore. And it seems like, sometimes the judges will get in trouble for having people stand on the side of the road with a sign that said, I stole $20 out of my mom's wallet, or whatever it is,
And then there's the argument that community service is involuntary servitude.
Yeah.
Because you've been ordered to work without pay.
I've never heard that argument.
But that's what it is.
It is involuntary servitude, but involuntary servitude in the 13th Amendment is pretty clear for people who have not been convicted of a crime.
Right.
So,
but still, it would be the same argument as, well, the poor can't pay the fines, and that there's something wrong with each of the punishments, and each argument by itself has some merit, but then you wind up with, well, okay, so how do we punish people?
Sure. What I would say is that first off, the ankle bracelets are far underused. The fact that we're all paying for all these big expensive prisons when we could just have little beeper systems that have people stay at home in many cases, that the idea that house arrest is somehow getting away with it is ridiculous. The people who are committing crimes don't stay at home to commit their crimes. These are not hermits. These are people who are spending very little time at their house. They consider their house to be a prison. And so forcing them to stay there is, I think, a solution. And then if they can't do that, then let's talk about other more restrictive forms of crime. But
punishment, not
punishment for the crime. On the other side of it, I saw a lot of people come back for probation violations. I always felt like I could have done it. I was only on probation for like 3 days by accident getting out of prison. I shouldn't have been on probation at all. So I had some idea of what that might be like, but that was it. All it really prevented me from doing was having a beer the night I got home from prison. That's it. That's all probation did. Because I was going to run out to the nightclub or something, with the clothes that they got from Goodwill, donated to me as a convict leaving prison. Anyway, let's go on with some of the reforms here from these California criminal justice reforms. I think that there's some ones worth implementing on a nationwide basis. The next one's on body cam footage. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live.
Hey, you. Yeah, you.
Your imagination is limitless. Your potential is limitless.
We create websites, mobile apps, and animation. Let's design your story. SunstoneDigitalTech.com. 20% off. Quick, call 888-211-7519.
We are digital.
Call now, 888-211-7519. Sunstone Digital Tech.
Limited time, limitless digital experiences.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog.
for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live's live Sunday show. Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450 free here on Free Talk Live. Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since 2014, more than 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, that's BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5% and 33% on the things you're going to buy anyway over there at Amazon. Well, SaveItPurse.com is an interface that allows you to use cryptocurrency to get anything you want from Amazon, basically. Most things from Amazon. And you can do it and save between 5 and 33%. I'd say it's pretty easy to save 20%. You're talking about maybe adding an extra day to the process. 25%, you could add an extra 2 or 3 or 4 days to the process.
I've had orders at 20% get picked up within a matter of hours.
Yeah.
And some of those I wound up getting like next day delivery. So it was even faster than if I used Amazon Prime.
Add the items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. Save at purse.com. That's save, A-T, purse.com. It's not like an email address. It's saveatpurse.com.
And I'm looking at my Purse account right now. I have had 98 transactions for $912 saved.
It's pretty good. Let's go to David, calling in from San Francisco. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, hey, I was interested in what you were just talking about, and basically you're describing values, right? Whether this values are put on society by some con artists or whether it's put on by somebody that really gives it.
Board up. Can we turn up David a little bit? I just can't hear him.
Oh, is that any better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, what we're talking about is values, right? What you were talking about before, I called in, is whether or not I'm like around 60 years old, right?
Okay.
So I've seen the world go from the Vietnam War through Oliver North crack, through the 90s, the post-September 9/11, fake wars and looting of the country. So America has been cheated time and time and time again.
By whom?
And the idea that what just happened with Kavanaugh. Right?
Okay.
Kavanaugh is deep state, right? Donald Trump pretends that he's opposed to the deep state, but he not only appointed deep state, he gave them the license to pardon themselves. Now, if you know just basic religion, only God can pardon you, right? But if some con artist says, "Oh, well, I can pardon you," you can loot this country, you can steal this bank, you can, lay crack all over America, you can force all the factories out of the country. There have been enormously stupid things that have happened in America just in the last 50 years.
Why do you think Kavanaugh is deep state?
Well, you're Free Talk Live. Are you tied with Free State? Was it Free State News? Where is this from? It says it's from a publication.
The answer is probably no.
Oh, okay. Well, the name of the article, it's from El Reportero SF. Mainstream media using Kavanaugh's sex scandal to distract you from the real reason he shouldn't be appointed.
Okay.
And that's that he's trying to rip apart the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, and then the Fourth Amendment, which basically leaves wide open for more amendments, for better life to come. We may be stuck in some hole at this point, but the Fourth Amendment is the one that kind of opens the door for anything that's not listed as a crime is free, right? So the idea that Kavanaugh is totally opposed to that. And so it lists these various cases that he's worked in. Here's September 2010. By the way, you remember Abu Ghraib, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Sexual, torture, con artist, maybe making porno slasher movies in a U.S.-owned prison. That talk about an insult to America. And so Abu Ghraib, Kavanaugh exonerated the CACI. CACI is the hiring company for mercenaries, right? And so some of these contractors of CACI were involved in Abu Ghraib, and Kavanaugh set them free.
Let me ask you this:
their lawsuit.
Were you for the Merrick Garland nomination?
Well, Merrick Garland has his problems too. You remember I'm a Ralph Nader kind of Green Party.
I understand that, but I mean, Merrick Garland and Kavanaugh were on the same courts. They ruled the same.
Oh yeah, well, Merrick Garland voted in.
Like basically, if you're a judge, the Supreme Court rules unanimously far more often than it rules 5-4. And the idea that somehow Kavanaugh is going to change much, I would presume that if Kavanaugh is deep state, not to say that you're wrong, but if he is, then pretty much everybody else on there is deep state too.
Well, that's why this article shows a bunch of different examples. And that reason I raised CACI, Merrick Garland voted against Kavanaugh in that same case. They were the three-judge panel in D.C., right? So Merrick Garland, Kavanaugh sat on the same judge benches, and then the third guy, I think his name was Anderson,
Right. Basically, all the government has to do with Kavanaugh is say the word terrorist, and they get away with whatever they want.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah, and so, you look at, like, the financial damage to America, just crack. Oliver North allowing 50 tons
but
of pure
Kavanaugh didn't
cocaine.
do Oliver North. I mean, like, this is kind of scooping it all together and saying, that.
Well, who's boss, right? Supreme Court or Oliver North? I mean, they were all kissing ass to somebody. And Merrick Garland, much less the sexual stuff, is what he's blackmailable about. Like you remember the stories came out about how Donald Trump had raped a 13-year-old sex slave, and who's that rich billionaire?
I don't know. It's probably no different than the stories that came out about
New York
Clinton.
billionaire. He was a New York billionaire, and they tried to claim that Bill Clinton and Donald Trump went down to his private.
Yeah, I've heard these accusations. I don't know these people's names. I mean, if they can't come up with some kind of evidence, then I don't know what to do about it.
Well, that's where you photograph them for blackmailable material.
Sure, and
right?
admittedly,
So
this is one of the reasons I really hate the NSA spying on Americans, is because it's not that it matters what I'm sending in my email.
There's one of the cases. The NSA, Kavanaugh supported the NSA. Stupid. That's in this article.
He helped write the USA Patriot Act.
That's correct.
Yeah. Sure.
The number is 855-450-3733. What do you think? Is Kavanaugh a deep state?
Is there a deep state?
What is the deep state?
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, first I need a definition. 855-450-3733 here on Free Talk Live.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
Ever wonder how Bitcoin and Ethereum were created? Vercel Media has helped hundreds of companies and individuals make their own cryptocurrency. Decentralized blockchain solutions are making the world more transparent and giving power back to the people. Vercel Media has helped companies raise tens of millions in the past year alone, structuring and marketing ICOs to the thirsty crypto public worldwide. Don't miss the cryptocurrency revolution. Visit vercelmedia.com, VERCEL media.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live Sunday edition. You can call in and talk about whatever you want here on Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
The number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. We're talking about some criminal justice reforms that are going on in California. Hopefully they have good results. We'll see. So far I haven't really argued with too many of them. Kind of interested in how these things turn out. The number is 855-450-3733. Before we go to your calls, I want to tell you about the Blink home security system. I've got one at my house. It's great. And if your property and your family are precious to you, you can protect them like I do with a Blink motion-activated HD cameras. That's the whole set. The system has the one I got was 3 cameras. I think you can get fewer if you want, but more or less all you have to do is set them up on near the doors and that sort of thing on your house, and just you get a live feed. You can go and see the live feed, or you also get some kind of indication when somebody moves in front of it for the times that you have it set. So you can set it from, say, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. If you don't expect anybody to be up and about at your house at that time, then maybe you want to know what's going on, who's moving around inside or outside. The Blink home security system can let you know that, or you can just check in anytime. All of this from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions. You pay at one time. It works with Alexa. You get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off if you visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. You got to visit the FTL part in order to get the discount. blinkprotect.com/FTL, and Blink is, in fact, an Amazon company.
Before we go to the calls, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
Because, Mark, based on some of the stuff that you were saying earlier, it sounds like you're in favor of capital punishment. Did I misunderstand?
I'm not. I generally think that the government is, that people, the government's, that there's no such thing as government, right? There's people. Mm-hmm. People aren't perfect. And if you have a capital punishment system, then it's going to make mistakes. Some percentage at a time, right? So you're going to execute innocent people. You're going to kill innocent people. Mm-hmm. You're going to kill innocent people for killing innocent people. And that is to me, philosophically flawed system.
And based on statistics that I've seen, of the people that are currently on death row or have been on death row since, or not on death row since 1972, but executed since 1972, and the number of people exonerated since then, it's about 10% of people that have been exonerated compared to those executed, which means statistically there have been innocent people executed. We also know that there have been people that have been exonerated after they were executed.
And posthumously.
Yes. Yeah. We know that there have been innocent people, not just people that there's reasonable doubt, because there's a lot of those, but people who were, point of fact, innocent, that did not commit the crime, that have been executed.
Right. So my stance is that I cannot support capital punishment, because supporting capital punishment would be supporting killing innocent people, which is the reason the capital punishment exists. However, I also don't lose sleep over guilty people being killed. I actually know a guy who was executed in Florida. His name was Mark Dean Schwab, and he was a bad person. I knew he was a bad person. He got out. He was one of those people who I'm like, that guy's going to do something awful, and he did, and it was awful. And the stories are disgusting, and people can go look them up. I never lose sleep. I've actually had a few dreams about this guy, and I generally wake up sort of with a smug feeling of good. So, I'm a little wishy-washy on it, but mostly I can't support it because humans are not angels, and angels don't make mistakes. Humans do. You can't have a system that is permanent if you're going to make mistakes.
Right. I totally agree with both of you.
Let's go to Steve calling in from South Carolina. Steve, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how you doing?
All's well. What's on your mind?
I've had to deal with the prison system firsthand in California, and I got to tell you that state is so corrupt. It's unfathomable. I mean, people actually think the court system works everywhere. But California, it is absolutely just a way to control people and to rake in taxpayer dollars.
Tell me how.
And the more people...
Yeah, explain it to me. Obviously, it's a big system.
Oh, yeah. And there's a reason for it. Each person that's locked up in a county jail is worth $120,000 a year in federal taxpayer dollars. And each person in the state is worth $160,000. So the first thing you'd have to do is detach that, not allow California to get their hands in taxpayer money to keep their prisoners, locked up. There's one thing, it only costs $20,000 a year to house them and feed them.
Well, the funny thing is about convicts when it comes to housing and feeding is that the numbers are really wishy-washy. First off, I've never been able to find these numbers where the federal government gives states a certain amount of money for prisoners and that kind of thing. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I've never been able to document it. But secondly,
right. They're going to do that. They're going to hide that.
If you've got a prison that holds 100 people and you currently have 99 people in it, you don't have, and you bring one in or let one out, that one person doesn't change the amount of guards that are in that prison. It doesn't change the amount of electricity that's used in that prison, or if it does, it's negligible. And it doesn't, basically what you're paying for with a prisoner, if you're just talking about one bunk, I'm not talking about building a bunk, I'm not talking about any of this, but if you're just talking about filling a bunk, you're talking about the hot water to wash his butt and the bologna and the crappy bologna sandwich they give him for lunch. Really is ultimately what it comes down to.
And this is one of those things to where people on all sides like to use what I refer to as tricky math.
It's all tricky math.
So there's the people that they'll look, what is the actual cost of feeding this person and giving them clothes and washing their clothes for 1 year?
Yeah.
And then there's the people that say, well, wait a second. There's also all of these other costs associated with running the prison.
Yep.
So what is the operating budget of this facility divided by what the maximum capacity is, and that's what it costs to house an inmate for a year.
I can tell you it's cost.
Well, I basically I gave you those numbers.
Yep.
I just gave you those numbers.
Well,
and
no, you gave us numbers of what you say that the federal government gives the state of California.
That was 120. Then California has 160, and then it's $20,000 a year to house is what your claim was.
Yes.
Right.
That's the cost. The rest of it, they take it. That's what I mean. The state,
it's a moneymaker for them. Sure.
The sheriff are so corrupt, and the business is so good. That's why they're opening up private prisons. That's why,
No, they're opening up private prisons.
Corporations are opening up private prisons.
Somebody's got a connection with a lawmaker, and then they sign an exclusive contract saying that you will guarantee that we have 95% occupancy and you will pay us this amount of money, and if you go below 95% occupancy, then we will sue you for millions upon millions of dollars.
Well, they would still get the money for the 95% occupancy, and this is the one thing I've never really understood when the lawmakers sign these things is I mean, what difference does it make if you're contracted to pay the 95% occupancy number? What difference does it make if the beds are full or not? Like, you don't need to. You're not getting your money's worth by keeping people in prison. There's no particular point in that. Now, there may be federal dollars that come to states. I haven't seen any documentation on it, but I'm curious, and I do appreciate the call.
I've never seen a California prison that wasn't overfilled.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many prisons that are overfilled, but I have heard of some private prisons in some counties that have had some trouble. But in Florida, they certainly had overfull prisons too. The number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE here on Free Talk Live. Don't forget the Discord chat at discord.freetalklive.com.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, final segment of the live Sunday edition. Could potentially squeeze you in if you called here at 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE. But I am going to run through these reforms in California, these criminal justice reforms that they're going through, and that way we can get them squeezed in here in the final segment.
Now, before you run through those, let me tell everybody about what I'll be doing in 4 weeks from today when I'll be running the New York City Marathon as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project has helped hundreds of people now get exonerated through the use of DNA evidence, and they can help even more people with your help. I'm trying to raise $5,000. I've already met their minimum funding goal, but I have my own funding goal that I want to reach, which means that I'm looking for $450 more. If you've got $5, $10, whatever, all of it helps. Go to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com. Everything that gets donated goes directly to the Innocence Project.
And the Innocence Project, usually the attorneys there that are oftentimes the attorneys are donating their time too.
Yes.
So it's a pretty lean organization. That's why I didn't mind. What did we do? We sponsored. We matched.
The Shire Free Church matched basically $1,000.
Yeah, and I think that's great. So awesome. That's run.freetalklive.com?
Yes.
All right. So some of the reforms that are going on in California here, I've read off others. If you need the archive, you're just tuning in, you can go to archives.freetalklive.com. This will be listed there in a few short, maybe an hour or so. And you can...
Or less.
Yeah, get that archive and listen to the rest of them. But apparently there's a new bill to release body cam footage from police officers more quickly. So police departments would be required to release body camera footage within 45 days of any shooting or use of force incident that resulted in a death or serious injury, unless they submitted a written explanation.
There's always an unless.
Yeah, a written explanation for why doing so would substantially interfere with an investigation.
Or unless there just happened to be a very convenient malfunction.
No, that does happen. That's obviously an issue of corruption in the department. But I think that it's a good reform to have in place, and it means that we can start looking into why is somebody hiding something sooner. We can get kids with cognitive problems out of juvenile detention center faster. So this bill would limit the amount of time children can be held in a juvenile hall without a trial. Currently, some may languish there for months or even years because a judge has determined that they're mentally incompetent, meaning mental illness, intellectual disability, or development immaturity makes them unable to understand the charges against them or assist their attorneys. While California law limits the length of time mentally incompetent adults can be confined, usually in hospitals, while awaiting trial, no such cap exists for children. Again, this seems reasonable. Obviously, we need to know what to do with violent, dumb children, but let's get some kind of sentence on the board here.
So basically, we're looking at defining what speedy trial actually means.
Yeah, this is one of the things that really bugs me is that the founders, in all their wisdom, gave us a speedy trial, but didn't bother to tell us what a speedy trial was.
Right.
Make it easier to reduce sentences. So there's a bill that would make it easier for prosecutors to retroactively recommend shorter sentences for inmates. Prosecutors can currently ask for charges to old sentences only under certain circumstances. Ask for changes to old sentences only under certain circumstances, like if new evidence emerges or if sentencing laws shift, but not if they believe the original punishment was too harsh. Supporters of the bill, including a host of Bay Area district attorneys, say the measure would be the first law nationally to give prosecutors the authority to recommend shorter sentences in the interest of justice. And I suppose if they can't make longer, it's not too often that prosecutors are out there just willy-nilly and pell-mell shortening people's sentences. So I think that this is probably a good idea.
Right, because in most cases, the prosecutor is going to ask for way more than whatever the mandatory minimum is.
So here's one that makes it tougher. Block some violent offenders from diversion programs. This bill would amend legislation passed earlier this year that allows judges to send criminal defendants to community mental health treatment rather than making them go through trial. As the Times reports here, some prosecutors and radio talk show hosts went nearly berserk, claiming that murderers and rapists would now go free simply by telling some gullible judge that whatever they did was due to mental health problems. Was due to health problems. This bill seeks to appease these critics, making defendants ineligible for these diversion programs if they were accused of murder, voluntary manslaughter, or rape. Well, it's probable that they wouldn't have gotten that anyway.
Right.
I mean, I love how the legislators really think they're saving us all from the judges.
Right. Well, there is, and out of California, remember Brock Turner?
Yes.
The former Stanford swimming superstar or whatever that raped a girl behind a dumpster and wound up getting a 3-month sentence.
Yes.
Well, one of the problems with creating, I mean, this is very similar to mandatory minimum sentences, and the reason that mandatory minimum sentences can't become into existence is because of things like Brock Turner. But you have to allow the judges, in my opinion, to look at discretion, look at all the factors involved, even if it means every now and then you're going to get a really bad decision like you did in the Brock Turner. The alternative is when you have these rules where the judges can't exercise any kind of discretion, then you're going to have situations where the situation really calls for it, and there's nothing the judge can do and his hands are tied.
Yeah, I agreed. I think the judges ought to have more latitude generally. One of the problems is that you got these soft judges and these hanging judges out there, and they're these anomalies. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that we kind of live in a meme culture. So it's easy to say, little old lady sues McDonald's for super hot coffee that she spilled on herself or whatever, and getting all upset that, whatever happened, when we don't know the specifics of the case. Like, I can't say what happened with Brock Turner. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people are upset about it. I presume Brock Turner got the 3-month sentence, the light sentence, because of some kind of mitigating circumstance. That mitigating circumstance may be wealth. And
yes.
There's no doubt that wealthy people tend to serve shorter sentences than people who aren't wealthy.
Yes.
The Menendez brothers come to mind of people who that this is the variance to that particular rule. Those guys are still in prison now, and it's a fascinating story and happened must be 30 years ago now.
Yeah. I remember that.
There's the story of the teenager from Texas, the affluenza kid, who part of the defense for why he shouldn't go to jail is he's rich and he wouldn't know how to survive there.
I think he lost the case, though, didn't he? They tried that defense and it made a lot of news, but I think he lost, didn't he?
There was some kind of thing on an appeal, and then him and his mother fled to Mexico, and then they were picked up for felons fleeing something.
Right. Okay, so he got busted.
What people don't like is unfairness. Right, they want rich people to have to face the same sentences as the poor people, and I get that. It's not going to happen. There's never going to be a state where things are fair. But the other thing that I'd ask is that is prison a particularly fair sentence for anybody in these circumstances? One of the first things I'd do if I was God King of the prison system in America is I'd split them up. Violent offenders shouldn't be where nonviolent offenders are. They should be in different locations. Sex offenders are an entirely different beast. They ought to be getting their own treatment in their own places. There's something wrong with them, the real ones. I'm not talking of the people who are, 19 having sex with a 15-year-old or somebody peeing out back of the golf course.
The 16-year-old Virginia kid that was charged as an adult for possession of child porn because he texted a picture of himself to his girlfriend.
Right. I'm talking about the real sex offenders. Those people need treatment, should be in different systems. They're getting they can't talk frankly about their crimes in a regular prison setting because they will be brutalized or potentially brutalized or afraid of being brutalized. Violent offenders need their own sort of counseling and those sorts of things. And then I'm of the opinion that the DUI manslaughter people shouldn't be in with the rest of those folks either, that they're just talking about another completely different beast that they need. They've got substance abuse problems and that should be fixed.
So you're talking about like an actual rehabilitation facility.
It's a better idea than putting bad people in a bad place, treating them badly, and expecting them to get out and act good.
Yeah, but then the question becomes, okay, how much is it going to cost to have all these different systems? And then it gets more complicated and more bureaucracy, et cetera. So
most states have more than 4 prisons. Most, not all. Not New Hampshire. Check us out at freetalklive.com.
We'll be back tomorrow because we're live every night of the week.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to,